Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday Talk. Let's hold on and wait. I think Instagram were telling your followers that you've started a live video. So I have been asked if I have an archive of all these Tuesday videos. I'm trying to upload them to IGTV, but I've tried several times to download last week's and it keeps getting stuck at 73%. It comes up like an error. I don't know what it is. Hey Eric. So I've been trying to download all the videos onto Facebook. So I think I'm gonna have better luck on Facebook. So I will let you guys know when an album of all these videos has been uploaded onto Facebook. And I'll continue trying on IGTV, but it's being stubborn. So today, first I want to start with a health update. So yesterday I had my third filling of my expander, and I went to the plastic surgeon office, and he asked me, "Oh, did you feel any sort of pain or discomfort after you left last time?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Okay, well, let's do double this time." So we did do the double of the filling. And hi, Liz. And thankfully, I haven't I haven't felt any discomfort. Yesterday, I felt like a little bit of sting on my incision, but it went away. So yeah, I've been very, very lucky. So he actually did tell me I see my neurosurgeon tomorrow. So he asked me to ask him when he's planning to do the surgery for the synthetic bone so they can match up their dates. Because the plastic surgeon is going to be there for that surgery too. And I was going to ask him anyway. And he also told me to ask him what he wants to do about the helmet because there's 5 more weeks of the filling and it's going to get to a point that the filling is not, or the helmet might not fit. So hi everyone, I was just giving a health update that I had my third filling in my expander yesterday, and it was double of what we usually put, and it didn't hurt at all. So I've been extremely lucky and blessed. Tomorrow I see my neurosurgeon, so I'm going to ask him when he sees my surgery to be for. So, if we can at least start the process of measurements, because the bone is going to take 6 to 8 weeks to be made. So, but honestly, I'm going in with no expectations, because I feel like that's worked out better for me than going in expecting to get, dates. And so I'm just going to ask. So I'm just going to ask and see what he says. So one thing that I was asked for that I talked to right at the beginning when I logged on was for an archive of all these Tuesday videos. So I'm having a little issues with IGTV. So I'm going to upload them to Facebook in a separate album. So I think I'm in the process of uploading last week's, and it looks like I'm having better luck with Facebook. So one thing I wanted to talk about today, thank you, Liz. So one thing that I wanted to talk to you about today, which I was asked by a friend of mine, is what kind of symptoms I felt before. Well, I'm going to tell you what typically you feel. Typically, you feel lightheaded, vision problems, dizziness, and all of a sudden, like the worst headache of your life. They call it thunderclap headache. And fortunately, I don't remember if I felt any of that. To my knowledge, I didn't. And he also asked me why the doctor said that I had gotten it. And there's actually no actual explanation. In my case, anyway, there are reasons why they occurred to other people. But in my case, I've always suffered from migraines and headache, and I've gone to the doctors before, and they've done CT scans, and nothing has come up. But that's because we needed to do a CT scan or MRI with the blue dye, with contrast, a blue dye that they put in your veins. So all the veins show up, they light up in the scan. And I never knew to ask. And the doctors, by all accounts, I seemed like young, healthy. I lived a healthy lifestyle. I didn't do drugs. I didn't obsessively drink. I was healthy all around. So they just never really thought to do that scan. So they said that I could have been born with it. They said it could be hereditary, but there's no one at least that we know, in our family tree that suffers from, or that has suffered from, a ruptured or unruptured aneurysm. So they said I could have been born with it. And just over time, it got bigger. Stress is a factor. And a year prior to it, I got a hurt ankle running, and I went to urgent care so they can take a look at it, and they noticed that I had high blood pressure. And I don't remember what it was, but it was, compared to now what it is now, it was extremely high. So she told me to go to my family doctor and get checked out. So I did. And she said, well, you eat right, you're young, you're not a smoker. And my dad had blood pressure in his mid-30s, so we chalked it up to family history. And I was on medication, and that's it. It was controlled. So I started getting high blood pressure about a year before, when I was going through something personal in my life, and I was extremely agitated and just stressed. So I started getting high blood pressure, and that also plays a factor on the veins of your brain. And I think at that moment, the bubble that had built up in my brain just didn't resist anymore, and it burst. So there's not one thing that caused it or how it had originally built. We'll never know. Even the doctors say that they're just assuming that I was born with it. There's just no way of knowing. So yeah, that's not the case for everyone. Some people, you definitely do know where, how it builds. But it just burst. And I will tell you this, a miracle happened, or it has been happening since the moment it ruptured. I had just gotten to my friend's house, and 2 minutes later, I would have been in the car driving with my son. And I just got there. I hadn't even taken off my coat. And I'm lucky that they were quick to call the ambulance, and they got there really quick, because 15%, and I know I've said this a million times, 15% of ruptured aneurysms, people die before even reaching the hospital. And I also got lucky that it just so happens that my amazing team of doctors 2 years prior got specifically chosen to start the neurology department at the Christiana Hospital. And they are the best of the best. I'm just super, super lucky. Hi, Megan. So I'm super, super lucky that it happened the way it happened. I mean, I'm not lucky that it happened, but if it was going to happen, I'm just super glad that it happened that way. So yeah. Hey. So yeah, that's kind of my story. And just to go on a little bit further, and if you want to know, go all the way back to the full history, I have, I believe, 5 videos on IGTV that I posted probably 2 months ago that talks about everything. So I'm just going to give a summary briefly. I got there at 5 a.m. No, I got there at midnight. 5 a.m. it was clipped. I had my first surgery. It was clipped. The next day or 2 days later, I was appearing to be fine. And all of a sudden, I started to have a stroke on the left side of my body. And my brain began to swell. And they had to remove the right side, my part of my skull that I still have missing. So that was my second surgery. And then I had another one to put in a feeding tube in my stomach. So my third surgery. And because I wasn't eating and I needed to be strong for surgery. So then a month later, I had my fourth surgery to put the skull back in. And as many of you know, well, that was at the end of December. February 14th, I had my 5th surgery because it got infected. So yeah. Then in May, I had my 6th surgery to put in a tissue expander because they had opened this up so many times that the skin is really, really thin. So now instead of closing and stay closed, it separates. So I had put in a tissue expander, my 6th surgery, to stretch out the skin to hopefully have enough to close when it's time to put in the bone. So now I am waiting for my 7th surgery, am I right? 7th surgery to get my bone put in. And once I've healed and recovered from that, I have my 8th surgery because I still have a very small aneurysm that they need to fix. But that, luckily, is not as invasive as my other surgeries. They go in through the groin or the arm and they fix it like that. So how they get from the groin to here, I don't know, but it makes more sense to me, the arm. But they do it. So by the time, hopefully, by the time all this ends, I'll be at 8 surgeries. Hopefully, there will be no complications once they put in the synthetic bone. But yeah, I'm good with 8. I might not. I wouldn't want more. I wouldn't want to be an overachiever. So yeah. And for a girl who hasn't even been ever admitted into the hospital except when I was giving birth, nah, man, it's been a crazy, crazy ride. But I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all your prayers, all your encouraging words. And I just appreciate you guys so much, so, so much. And yeah, it's not over, and I'm still going to keep documenting everything. And even when it is over, I'm going to document my slow process back into the real world. So stick around. I say it at every end of my Tuesday talks. In case you guys ever have any questions, nothing's too personal. I'm willing to talk about everything and anything. So yeah, just DM me and don't be afraid to ask anything, even if it's something I've already talked about before. I'm happy to talk about it again. All right. Love all you. Mwah. Bye.